New South Wales has recorded 8 new locally acquired cases of coronavirus. 7 are directly linked to the Avalon cluster on Sydney's Northern Beaches, bringing the total to 97. Michael Regan is the Northern Beaches Mayor and he joins us now from Sydney. Michael Regan, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So what's your response to the idea of splitting the Northern Beaches into 2 separate parts?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I didn't see that one coming. I don't think many of us did see that one coming, but it's hard really for those residents of the north there. I mean, it's nice that still many of them have a sense of humour, which is great. They're saying, fantastic, we can keep all you southerners out and we don't have to invite family and friends over for Christmas Day. But largely, by and large, it is going to be hard work and it's going to be hard on a lot of residents up there. So, yeah, but it's good for the ones in south, but it's really devastating on local businesses who are just recovering from this year. So I'm really shout out to them at the moment. So
you said that you didn't see it coming. What had you anticipated the Premier and the medical team to say today?
Look, I thought obviously worst case, which was no change or further lockdowns. But I think we were all kind of optimistic that we might get, at the very least, all of us get the 10 people rule, if you like. And I think that we all kind of hope that we'd be able to have Greater Sydney, welcomed back, sort of thing, in terms of just keeping those numbers to the 10. I think that was we were optimistic. So we get that for the southern end, but we don't get that for the northern end, which is it's really hard, I think, on those residents, which have done such a great job in getting tested and doing the right things. So that we really need to double down on our efforts now and support them.
Okay, and so I'm curious as to what you think about the fact that if you're in that northern part, and of course we are a national program, but we're talking about such small parts of Sydney, but if you're in the northern part from the Narrabeen Bridge up to Palm Beach, you can have 5 people in your home. How do you think, does that strike a balance that you see as acceptable leading up to Christmas?
I think it's important to note for those around the country, what it is there's probably about 70,000 residents north of the Narrabeen Bridge of a 270,000 population on the Northern Beaches. It's only those 70,000 people that can have up to 5 people from that north region, so it's all contained within. So nobody in, no one out. So it's an interesting concept. And I understand why the government's done it, and I do not criticise the government for doing it. They're doing everything that the health advice says they should do. So I guess it's just interesting that it's only 5, and that's good that they get some relief. But whether it's enough, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. And like I said, there's plenty of people with a sense of humour now, but we just got to make sure we keep an eye on the rest of the residents there, because it will be a big deal to many of them who are used to having large gatherings on Christmas Day and Boxing Day and even Christmas Eve. So we really need to see what we can do to assist.
And are you concerned about people? I mean, what are they telling you when you speak to them?
I've already had one lady reach out to me and say, how am I going to go from Warriewood over the bridge to grab my kids? I'm in a split family, to grab my kids on Coco. And I'm able to write back to her and say, look, it's okay, because the police have exemptions for that sort of thing, and it's perfectly okay. But there's a bit of confusion, so we just need to make sure that they're worried, I guess, and they're anxious. They want to understand the rules. Some restaurants have reached out and said, does this mean we're still closed? Yes, it does. So we are just trying to get the message clear for them and to help them as much as we can and support them in whatever we need to do.
So I listened to the press conference and I thought that the Premier and Dr. Kerry Chant were trying to bring in as much nuance as possible to give people wriggle room to really try to have some sort of social contact, particularly if in that northern area. But you mentioned some confusion from the people that you've spoken to. Are you seeing adequate information given to people about how to negotiate the Christmas period?
Yeah, I think because it's all new, and I think people just hear certain things and certain bits of information, so it's really clear to us as a local government organisation with a big reach locally that we need to get some very clear messaging out to them, what it actually means, how it impacts them, and pick up those nuances that you mentioned, because the government is trying to do the right thing. The government was pretty clear, but people like you and I watch that for 30 minutes, 1 hour, just picking up things, and we process it. Other people will just hear bits and pieces, and so we've got to be really clear with our messaging and start rolling that out, because it starts from midnight tonight. It doesn't, and the health orders haven't been written yet, so they're an extension of. Again, we understand those nuances, the general public don't. So the government's, doing the best they can to get the information out, and we need to help them, and we will, and we are, and we're just going to make sure that we give as much positivity to the local community, particularly in the north, that they can have some, as you point out, some friends over, our family over, and they can still have a good Christmas, and they will make the most of it, no question about that.
And so how would you characterise the Premier's leadership of this tricky period?
Oh, I think she's been outstanding. I make no bones about it. I think she's listening to the advice. She's doing everything she can. She's asking all the hard questions, I think, of the science, the chief scientists, the medical people, and she's doing what she can to ensure that we can have Christmas. I think it's disappointing how some of the other premiers have reacted, given that you have a look at the fact that we are doing the heavy load and the heavy lifting for the rest of the country. I don't think any other state can do what New South Wales has done, and that's why they closed their borders so early. So hats off to the Premier, frankly.
I just want to finish by saying I'm sure that this period has been very tricky for you. How are you going to spend Christmas?
Oh, look, I'm lucky. My in-laws, my family, I can hit that magic number of 10 and have my family over to host them for Christmas, which is fantastic. So I'm very pleased. I'm one of the lucky ones. We've all been tested. We're all fine, and we've not been in any of the hotspots or any of the venues. So I'm very lucky. I can have my family over and host them for Christmas. So I'm fine. This is what it is. We'll get through it, and we just need to keep progressing and making sure we do what we need to do for the community, because they're depending on us.
Michael Regan, the Northern Beaches Mayor in Sydney, thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.